All proceeds from this series will go to Samaritans. Donation link in the description. Hey there, my name is Riwin and welcome back to the Fazlore Podcast. Today I'm here with ExplodingLoaf.
Hello.
And today we'll be covering Help Wanted 2. What was Help Wanted 2? How would you describe Help Wanted 2? If you kind of had to summarize it or just kind of, someone's come up to you, never heard of it, what would you say?
Oh god. The sequel to... Well, first off, the sequel to Help Wanted 1, I think significantly weaker than Help Wanted 1, purely because it didn't... You kind of struggle, especially because they cracked off most of the first 4 games. So in comparison to, if we're talking gameplay, a bit weaker. If we're talking mechanics, I think definitely the better of the two. Overall, I think it's a better experience. It has its issues, but it's not as, refined as the original one is. That's just my opinion, of course.
I feel like the games were definitely a lot more unique this time, rather than doing like a FNAF night over and over. It would be like food service at the Pizzaplex, sorting out Freddy's freezer unit thing, and then obviously a few things like Laura's Gallery. It was definitely more of a range.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Do you have like a favourite of any of them, or just kind of like
all of
them?
I like the most.
Yeah.
In all honesty, if I go, I know I've got it in my... I have a photo from when I was playing on Steam day 1. And this was before... Crazy how time flies. This was before I was doing FNAF stuff on YouTube. It was just before I started. But there was one game mode. And if I remember correctly, because I had a couple of hours on the game, it was the Fizzy Faz one. But I'm fairly certain it was... The one that I liked the most was the Glamrock Freddy one. That one, like in the freezer, with the heat gun and the cold gun, that was really cool. I really enjoyed it.
It was a pretty fun one. I haven't played them myself, but I feel like everyone I've seen playing Fizzy Faz has actually found it like really annoying.
I didn't find it too much. It wasn't too bad. I think I'm used to playing like games where you have to rush around like that, so I picked up pretty quick.
I feel like with FNAF games in general, you do have to be like rushing around and on it, so it is kind of like based on that. But obviously now you're on VR, and then obviously if you don't understand what's going on at first, I've seen a lot of people be mad because like, the people need to go on break, but you need those ingredients, and it's just not good.
Oh no, I feel that. I booted it. So the problem was with Help Wanted when I played it, Help Wanted 2, sorry, is I have a Vive Pro, which has a very specific set of controllers, and when I booted the game up on the day 1 launch, the controllers weren't supported, and they didn't tell you this on the Steam page. So I booted the game up and I couldn't do anything. So what ended up happening is I had to use like one of them, you know how you can have controller presets on Steam? I had to download a controller preset that would work with the Vive, and it was so bad. And then someone refined it and made it good, and it actually worked, but that was like 2 days after. So basically the game for Vive players was unplayable for like 2 days. It was actually unbelievable.
See, I have a MetaQuest 2, but like I don't have a fancy enough wire for it to like run and record me playing. And then I also don't have a strong enough Wi-Fi to be able to record my gameplay, so...
I got lucky because I did do a Help Wanted video. In fact, I believe that's the first video that's actually still publicly listed on the channel. And I did that back when I was doing VR content. But now I've gone full in on the FNAF thing. I very much prefer that. I think you can still see some old remnants actually of the old branding, because I don't believe that's when, if I remember correctly, we weren't called ExplodingLoaf when that video came out.
The OG channel.
Oh yes. There's a lot of remnants on the channel that still remain on from like pre-ExplodingLoaf. There is a lot of unlisted videos that they're there, they're just unlisted. But a a lot of the older VR stuff got deleted.
No, like when the thingy. But yeah, so have you played both Help Wanted and Help Wanted 2 then?
I've played both. Yes.
If you had to like choose, you could only have one. You can not have two. You can only have one. Which one would you have to choose?
Help Wanted easily, the original, because that was what refined the whole FNAF in VR thing. Because if it wasn't for Help Wanted 1 being as like semi-successful as it was, we wouldn't get Security Breach, we wouldn't get Secret of the Mimic, because Scott would have never reached out to Steelwool, or it wouldn't have been Steelwool that actually developed the game. It would have been some other company.
I mean, I was discussing on an earlier video about how I'm really glad Scott went for Steelwool, which is like an independent studio, as opposed to like, because he easily could have gone for like a AAA studio, like anyone would have taken FNAF because it's such a big franchise. But to go for someone like Steelwool, who's still small and did make some errors, but overall has done quite a decent job, I feel like I'm very, very glad that's the direction we went with. Yeah.
Oh, I completely agree, actually. Like with... because I'm going to talk about this. I've got a Secret of the Mimic video coming up. It's a bit late, but it's a big one, so it's taking its time. I go and I do cover a little bit about how Security Breach was a bit of a... do I say the word disaster? It was a bit of a disaster in comparison to what Secret... I actually really enjoyed Secret of the Mimic. I know, obviously, people had their issues with the game.
Yeah.
People are going to have their issues with the game, but... You know, no game is perfect. I believe...
And I think... Sorry.
You know what? No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, we'll definitely go into this more later because Security Breach is very integral in Help Wanted 2 lore. But, like, I feel like there was stuff to be taken from Security Breach, but it was just miscommunication overall. But again, we'll kind of, like, discuss that more later when we get into, like, kind of the lore and stuff.
Of course.
What was the lore at the time? I feel like Help Wanted 2 lore is something that's very... Like, what we know the game lore is at the moment is very, very limited because of how... Kind of like Help Wanted, it's more disconnected from its lore. But how much do you know about the current lore? Do you have any, like, theories or...
Okay, with the lore stuff, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm clueless. I am not a theory guy. I am... like long form informational stuff. I'm best off known like FNAF 6 prior. I kind of get the lore before all that. Anything afterwards confuses me. From what I did get from Help Wanted 2 though, at least you know what the common consensus is. I know that people think that the protagonist is Cassie's dad. I know people think that the arcade ending, whatever it's called, that is like Vanny breaking free of Glitch Trap.
Yes.
And I know that, or like Vanny getting rid of the Mimic, or something like that. It is something along those lines.
Yeah, so we'll kind of go through each bit individually, but yeah, so the basis for it being Cassie's dad, it's not 100% canon, but there are a few bits of evidence towards it. So, for example, how the Faz, her dad had like a Faz wrench, and we also have the idea that potentially he's the Bonnie bully. I don't personally believe it because the evidence is kind of meh, but again, we can discuss that in a minute, but
yeah.
I don't know, do you think it's possible? Do you think it's like a guaranteed or kind of...
There's definitely a possibility of him being Bonnie Bully, because I know there was an Easter egg with the masks in game, like the Order of the Masks, and where an achievement called like there was some achievement that gave it away.
Remember Jeremy, I think it was called.
Yeah, that was it. When you got the Bonnie mask, or it would be like this is familiar or something. It was something along those lines.
So I think I can definitely see the possibility, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a chance, but I also think it's not the best. However, I am a believer that Cassie's dad is the brother of the MCI incident Bonnie, so I think it also could be a link to that, like this is familiar because it's his brother. Like, I think there's definitely hints to it. Although, to be fair, people only believed it as much because the Freddy mask was then in Into the Pit, but Into the Pit isn't canon to the main game universe. So it's kind of like, it's interesting. It's interesting.
I would agree. I mean, as much as I want Into the Pit to be canon, I know it can't be. I know that's straying off topic completely, but Into the Pit's always
you're good. I mean, I literally filmed the episode today, and we were discussing how it's just incredibly unlikely that in any way, shape, or form that it is canon. It's just so much is in there that can't be canon into the main universe, and I don't think it's even to the point where, like, how in the books you can at least take something from it, take a bit of the evidence. It's just completely... It's so detached. I don't think there's even anything we can take to the main games over from it. It's just such a different universe.
With... Help wanted to when it comes, like, with lore for that. I think I did have one that I remember hearing about. Now again, whether this one is true or not, I don't know whether this is on the list. But it was something like, I saw this on Reddit a couple of years ago. It was something like Cassie's dad was the original Vanny, and I don't believe that for a second. But I do find it interesting that is if we are playing as Cassie's dad, he's got like that mask. But there was also a theory that was like standard issue, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Again, I am so out of touch with all this.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, it's good for discussion to be able to kind of like bring up ideas and contemplate it.
Of course.
I don't quite think that he was an earlier version, Vanny, because there definitely was an earlier version. That was Jeremy, and his face got shredded off. So
True.
I'm more of a believer that... So obviously in Security Breach, we get the note that there was a meeting, and that room is completely destroyed. And like ever since, we had no human staff in the evenings. So to me, it feels like Cassie's dad... I mean, I talked about this in one of my theories, my first ever theory, but it really feels like Cassie's dad was a staff. Obviously, he saw that they were trying to build Glitch Trap. As we see in Help Wanted 2, we kind of see that and we're like, oh. And I think he gets killed in that and then turned into a staff bot, which is why obviously we then become Mask Bot and give Cassie the mask. I feel like it's definitely more along those lines, and the idea that the helper bots are all humans with brains inside, rather than along the lines of that he was like Vanny kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that does make a lot more sense in comparison. There was one more, and this is probably like proven false. There's probably no way. What if I'm saying this as a guy who has no evidence, purely just because why not? What if we play as Jeremy?
As Jeremy.
Help Wanted to, because
You're not the only one to say that.
What's up, sorry?
Oh, sorry. I said you're not the only one to say that, but yeah, explain your reasonings, because I've definitely heard that before.
Because there's never any. Okay, when in the original Help Wanted, they say like, we're developing this game for Fazlore Entertainment, right? For like their big rebrand, and they say, oh, there's a glitch in the game. Right?
Yeah.
What if the original game isn't Help Wanted, but it's Help Wanted 2? And then the Help Wanted 1 is built off of Help Wanted 2, if you get what I mean. Like, in lore.
Yeah. See, the only piece of evidence I'd have against that, so in Help Wanted 2, in one of the endings, you find the booth that's growing the mimic Springtrap thing, and then you literally get killed by the staff bot. So I feel like you see your death. And with Jeremy, we know that he put his face in a paper shredder and went. So I feel like, I mean, it's possible that he didn't die in that cutscene, but I feel like that's the only big kind of like in your face evidence, as we do likely see his death, and it's not by the hands of paper shredder.
True.
I mean, the only other thing I could see is that so we know in the staff bots, we've seen images of staff bots where the brains are inside them. So like the robots actually have the brains in. So if it's not impossible that they put his brain into a staff bot and then into this system, because it feels very much like Help Wanted 2 is a staff bot training system. Like, here's how you do the fizzy faz, here's how you make food, here's how you repair the animatronics. Like, it feels very much like a training video, so we are at the very least a staff bot. So it's not completely off the table. I wouldn't say it's off the table. I'm personally more of the thought it's Cassie's dad, but I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't have any evidence or proof for that. I'm just throwing out ideas.
No, I mean, I think it's Joker Noob, someone who we had for the first Help Wanted, that actually brought this idea up as well. So, because it definitely is entirely possible, because Joker Noob, I've known for a few years, because we first met working on a fan game, but he is very, very into the FNAF lore, and he kind of brought it up, and I think I can see it, because obviously it's the consciousness. I think we do currently have more evidence for Cassie's dad, but the evidence we have overall isn't actually that strong. Like, for Cassie's dad, even that evidence could be misinterpreted as something else. So I feel like we're not quite at the point where we can definitively say this is a protagonist or this isn't a protagonist.
Okay.
Yeah. So, let me see what else. So, there was a theory that Vanny is the protagonist. So, the big ones for the theory are Jeremy, Cassie's dad, and then you also have Vanny as the protagonist as another theory. Do you think it's possible that Vanny is the protagonist?
If Vanny's the protagonist, then does the arcade ending work? Because again, maybe I don't know too much on how all that is. Would it make sense for her to see a giant version of herself, like her evil self or whatever we want to call it, destroying the thing that turned her into her evil self, and then walking away?
I feel like it could almost be symbolic. So I personally, I'll point out, I'm not a believer of this one, but I can see why people have come up with this, because it could be symbolic, because obviously Vanessa is Vanny. So because Vanessa is Vanny, it is possible she's seeing the digital version of herself who has contact with Glitchtrap killing him, and then Vanessa, who's been trapped, like she's trapped inside the machine, is being freed. So I think it is possible, but there's just quite limited evidence. Like, the mask is definitely some evidence. That's I will say that's still completely on the table, but it's limited. It's limited.
I see. Okay. Other theories. I'm trying to rattle anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, I will find the really funny theory is that some people believe that it is actually the Mimic himself who's the protagonist, which is a bit... I mean, see it.
It's probably not impossible.
No. I could see it being him training himself to be more, like, in touch with the Pizzaplex, because, again, it's very clear, I feel like, that Help Wanted 2 VR is just the training thing for the staff bots. So it could be possible that he's trying to train himself in the same way to understand the Pizzaplex more, know what to do, that kind of thing.
Or, guys, hear me out. Maybe Arnold's the protagonist. My evidence is there is none.
Wow. To be fair, unlike Edwin, he's dead. He's dead. Edwin, I don't think is dead, but Arnold is dead. He's gone.
Are we sure though? Because there's always that secret ending where he turns the Mimic into David.
I feel like parachute ending's the canon one. I can't lie. I feel like we wouldn't have security breach if we had actually fixed the Mimic. Like, that wouldn't be a thing.
And there was always two though. There was Fiona.
That is true. I mean, again, we were literally discussing this today. For the audience, I don't remember what episode this is. I think it's Into the Pit of FNAF 4. But we were discussing the fact that there is a possibility that Fiona herself is evil, considering the MXCS machine no longer has Fiona in it. It has a rabbit. We don't know where she is. That's like the biggest mystery right now is, well, she was definitely in that machine, so where has she disappeared to? Or has she been corrupted and started mimicking something else? It's an odd one. It's an odd one.
I mean, I still think there's a check, because I think Mexus is also the Mimic. Actually, hold on, wait a minute. This is completely unrelated to Help Wanted 2, but Mix's entire goal is to stop us from reaching the basement, right, where the M2 is being held.
Where the Mimic is, yeah.
Alright. And Fiona's goal in Secret of the Mimic is semi-similar. It's the opposite. She's trying to kind of get the Mimic out of the building instead of keeping it contained.
No, I think MXCS is the opposite in Ruin, because she keeps trying to jump scare us every time we try and get to Mimic. It almost feels like she's a deterrent rather than like a coaxing one. I suppose I could see it the other way. Yeah. What is the game lore now? I feel like the game lore hasn't particularly changed much. It's one of those that hasn't been affected much by time. I don't know.
I mean, it was just used to kind of promote Secret of the Mimic, in all honesty. It was made so they could get a sequel to Help Wanted 2 out. And then it was updated to promote Secret of the Mimic. And then it was never touched again.
Yeah. I do almost wonder. The thing is, with FNAF, it's always hard to tell if something is meant to have some lore relevance or if it's just there. Like, for example, is it like a small possibility that maybe Cassie's dad had seen the van or seen MXCS or even been the one to take them into the facility, like, or is it just there? It's such an odd one, especially with the newer games. It's hard to draw the line of what's canon and what was just there for the sake of it.
Yeah, because I remember with Help Wanted 1, there was wasn't there people angry that I don't remember what they were angry about. Someone was angry about something, and I could have swore it was like the threads on Glitch Trap's costume, something about that disproving spring locks or something.
Oh.
Or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong about it, but
That's an interesting one. I feel like, though, with Glitch Trap and the threads, we don't know that Glitch Trap was necessarily a springlock suit. It is entirely possible he was only made to be worn. So I feel like that doesn't really throw anything off the table yet, because it does definitely seem like, from what we've seen, it definitely feels like Glitch Trap is meant to be William Afton in an early on suit that's potentially made by Edwin. Like, to be fair, probably made by Edwin at this point, but it doesn't necessarily mean it was made to have an endoskeleton within it.
I mean, Edwin made recycling. He can make anything at this point.
Recycle! Yeah.
I got that jotted in my script, actually.
Yeah. That was so odd in Secret of the Mimic. Like, he even invented, like, going green. Like, he's just overpowered.
I mean, he invented the cassette player, the like, I swear, wasn't there some, he invented the Mimic, he invented the cassette player, he invented recycling, and then he invented...
and going green.
Yeah, just, if we keep inventing things, eventually one day...
we'll get the Mimic. He invented AI as the Mimic, so we're very close.
Yeah,
very
actually
close.
True.
We have generative AI stealing stuff now, so...
maybe Secret of the Mimic was actually a warning all along.
Unironically, I think the whole new plotline is literally AI versus humanity. Are we making AI evil? Like, it does feel like a really relevant theme. Like, I'm sorry to the audience, I've said this so many times. That it really is like an AI versus humanity plot. It's very... Yeah. I think it's very much talking about how we need to treat AI with respect. Like, it's not just a tool.
Yeah.
It's just...
Because if something goes wrong in the future, then we all reap the repercussions of that if it goes wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if we are not careful and we use it for our own use and never, like, consider what other effects it can have, we are cooked.
Indeed. The Mimic is trying to teach us all.
Whoa, he was never evil. He's trying to teach us a lesson. Whoa.
Oh my god, the Mimic is a good guy. Yes, let's go back
Yay!
10 years ago. Oh my god, we're going back 10 years ago. This is beautiful.
Beautiful. We love the Mimic. We love Edwin. He made the Mimic. How does this affect the future of the games? So I will say, I personally think we're going to get a Secret of the Mimic DLC and then Security Breach 2 and we're over. But what do you think, like kind of pacing wise? Do you think we're getting many more games or?
I think at this point FNAF isn't dying anytime soon. Because, hear me out, there's 2 movies that are being made. There's a kart racer that's in development. Steel Wool has expressed they want to make a Fredbear's game. There is most definitely a Security Breach 2 or you know, whatever the workshop name is. There is absolutely a Sottom DLC. Or I could be wrong. Sottom DLC is like I'm 50-50 on that.
Yeah.
I feel like there is projects planned for at least the next 10 years. And then FNAF World 2. I know this sounds insane and I'm going to die on this hill because FNAF World is one of my favorites. Scott has teased it too many times. It has to be happening. Alright? I'm not schizophrenic and I'm not crazy. He's said it himself. I have documentation. Alright? I literally have a folder on my computer called FNAF World 2 Cope, and it's just every screenshot of Scott teasing the game. And when it comes true, I will parade those around.
Isn't he retired at this point though? So he wouldn't be at least him be doing it.
Come on. I think we all know. I don't want to come off as mean, but that retirement thing. Maybe he's taken a step back from like the main games, but he's not retired. He's still active on the movies. He's an active writer. He's actively writing all of the books. He's still making little cute spin-offs every now and then, like the FNAF movie game, if you remember that one. I think there's more, and the fact that FNAF World's kind of had a massive resurgence. I mean, hell, not to brag, of course, my video did very well on FNAF World, and I think it shows interest in the game, and all the comments were like, I hope we get this or I hope we get that. I think Scott knows, or at least has some understanding of like, okay, this it was a bad time then, but people are interested now. And if I do this, it might do well. Because I'll be honest with you, I'll be willing to pay for it.
I will say in the last few years, FNAF World has gotten a lot of love. Because obviously by this point, I have done the FNAF World video as part of this retrospective. A lot of people love the game a lot more because the more you look back, the more you realise it was Scott's kind of passion project, what Scott enjoyed doing. So it definitely feels like something he could come back to. Obviously, he did have to take a step back because of controversial decisions. But I don't think it's entirely impossible that he will stop.
Oh yeah, no, he's not stopping anytime soon. I mean, he said he was retiring and giving it over to Steel Wool. Yeah, when was that? Like 2020, 2019? Yeah. And it's now 2025 and he's still, our retirement is taking quite a while.
To be fair, the whole issue with Security Breach, Scott has said in an interview, is because he wasn't communicating enough and he gave them too much free reign. He gave them very limited lore information.
He tried to treat them like fans of the games and it wasn't working. It didn't work.
Yeah. And that also might be why he has to have a step forward, because he's realised, like, if you are not... Like, he needs to give them, like, a lore book or something. Like, if he wants to hand it off... Like, again, we were discussing this in the FNAF 4 video, but we need to have just, like, a book of everything. Like, a book of what the lore was meant to be at the time, how it's evolved, and where we are going to. Like, to the public, the first bit, but I think at least Stillwall needs, like, a book of what we want, what the future lore is, how we're setting this up. So, it just... Yeah, I think he has definitely taken a step back, but he's had to step forward again because he can't communicate well.
Yeah. Do you remember the I think my favorite Scott quote is you remember the NFT scandal? So people had to tell him on Reddit what it was, and I swear to God I remember the response being, "Oh, NFTs? I thought they were like fidget spinners," and everyone was like, "No, they're not," and then he like cancelled it. In fact, drama. I bet I can find the screenshot. I think at this current time, give it a year or two, and we'll see how things look. Because for now, we've already got a lot going on, to be fair. FNAF's not going anywhere. I mean, the one that I'm personally most excited for this year, and I'm not going to give away any dates or times because I don't know if I'm even going. But Halloween Horror Nights, that is huge. That's huge.
It's amazing.
You know, because from what I've read about, you know, they've got Friday the 13th, they've got Fallout, and having FNAF there with that is massive for the series. Maybe not just the lore, but like just in general anyway. If it wasn't already mainstream enough, it's got like its own little section now, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's got its own house, because I will be going there this year and hopefully filming a bit of content. I'm going with my family, so it will be quite limited, but it's just something like Halloween Horror Nights. They've wanted it for years, and I think it's because the FNAF 2 movie is coming out. It's coinciding around the same time is why they've gotten it. But having FNAF is such a big name at this point. As you said, it's not going anywhere. It's not stopping. There's no rush for Scott to re-enter the scene because I think he quite likes the balance of being able to step back but still have a general control of what he wants. I think it's very cool. It's very cool.
I agree. I mean, everything has just been... honestly, everything is so cool. This year is so cool. Last year was huge. This year is huge. You know.
Nothing will beat last year, though. Last year was just event after event after event.
Last year was massive. I mean, I'm hoping if FNAF continues the way it's going, 15-year anniversary. Hey, you don't know what we could get. Because it's 11 years in as of recording a couple of weeks, right? It's August 8th soon, nearly.
Yes, I mean that's when this series will be releasing. So because this is Help Wanted 2, this will be releasing probably about just over a week and a half.
All right, well, you know when we recorded this way before that.
Don't I had to clarify for the Into the Pit video because we were talking about any future Mega Cat games, and I had to clarify, guys, this was filmed on this date. If we've suddenly had an announcement that Into the Pit is canon or we're getting new games and stuff, like, we don't know.
It just releases after, like, they announce something the day you release your episode.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, guys, this is 16th of July 2025. Okay, if anything has come out, any future DLC, which I think is likely, if we're getting a DLC, it'll be announced soon, or a new game. 16th of July, we don't know.
I know DJ Sturf said they were releasing some sort of update for Help Wanted 2, although he said that a bit ago. Yeah, no, he mentioned that. He said there was some I'll have to find the quote, but he said like there was something coming out for Help Wanted 2 soon. He just said soon, but this was a while ago now, and there's been nothing since.
Update or DLC?
He said update, but like he never mentioned it was bug fixes. He said like, and also that would be like a really random thing to say. Hey guys, they're releasing a bug fix for this game soon. It was phrased like it was new content.
Yeah, I feel like definitely we are getting to the point, especially at the anniversary, where we're expecting a future game tease. There's no way they've made any development on the DLC or on the next game first. Like, maybe the next game, the DLC, we're not going to have anything proper to show at this point, but we definitely should have enough, like, a few models to show in Help Wanted 2, for example.
Yeah. I mean, I always think there's an opportunity that when is PAX again? I know they're not going to PAX this year. What time of year is PAX every year?
We've just had it recently, I think. No, actually no, because it was when the Mimic was revealed, so it's like early in the year.
Yeah, I was on Terminal's stream when he was replaying Secret of the Mimic, and I got really sad because I'd beaten the game at that point, and then I just heard him say, "Oh, this is where it was in the PAX demo," and I was like, this soul crushing because I couldn't go. I'm gonna hopefully within the next couple of years start going to more of these events, especially now that my channel is doing pretty well for itself. As of recording, I went from 300 subs to 3.5k, so it's quite the jump. I'm still getting used to all that, but we'll see where the coming year takes me. I'm hoping I can hit 10k by the end of this year.
I just want to hit the 1k. So obviously for this video, I will remind people as well, or profits from this video are going to be going to Dorco's charity event. Again, link in the description. But I feel optimistic that I will make it one day. Maybe it's not this year. Maybe it's in a few years. But I'm quite of the mindset.
If you keep up the grind that you're going with, you will hit it easily.
Optimistic.
You just need one banger video. Because I'm gonna give you a little story time on myself. Probably not the best time to do this in this kind of thing, but back when we'd transitioned to a FNAF channel, me and my editor were sat down, and I think we were halfway through the FNAF World video, and it had hit me because nobody had done a video like a history behind FNAF World, and because I googled that to check, they'd done like retrospectives but not history video, and I was like, okay, I could get away with this. So we spent ages working on it, and he was worried that it wasn't going to do well, and he was like, oh, I don't know if people are going to watch this. He was like, I don't know if this is a good first video. I'm like, trust me. There was something in my brain that was telling me it was going to do well, and I had to reassure him. I'm like, people will watch this. People are going to enjoy it, hopefully, and I was right. And I think that video is cemented. It's definitely not perfect, but it's one of my favorites. I have that thumbnail saved on my computer. I have that video downloaded onto my computer. I have that one now forever.
Yeah, keep it.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a little sentimental moment that for me.
I think I want this series to do good, but not for my own. Like, obviously, I want to grow as a YouTuber, but every single episode of this series is starting with the fact that this is for a charity and ending with it's for a charity. I won't make money off of this. I am not at the point I can make money, but I really hope that people see this and are willing to make donations towards the cause. I really hope.
Of course, you know what? Yeah. I might drop some after this episode. If you send me the link, I might go and do that.
Oh, bless you. But yeah,
it's the only fair thing I could do for having me on as a guest.
No, honestly, it's just, I think everyone coming together is really going to help, because this will be the 14th episode out of 15, with each one having its own FNAF creator. So I think it's very much the community coming together. Almost, it wasn't intended to start as a charity event. It definitely, being able to do this is really fun. I've enjoyed every session so far and talking about it, and I hope people listening have enjoyed it as well. Just kind of gushing about the games, talking about what it was then and what it was now. It's such a really nice way to celebrate the anniversary, but if it can do some good for the world as well, that would be really cool. Yeah.
Of course. I just, I put something in the VC chat that I needed to say. But, that was, I agree. Getting the community together for more events like this. I want to do something like this at some point on my own. The problem is I've just not got the time, because half of the time now I'm busy working on other people's videos, or I'm working on my own videos, because they take way too long. Like, and I like watching you guys' videos, like theory videos, sitting down watching you guys' gameplay videos, you guys' streams. I like coming on and doing that. But the problem is I'm getting so, like, especially after my FNAF World video came out, I don't think I spoke to anybody other than my editor for like 5 days. And my editor and my girlfriend, because I was like so locked in on just trying to get the next one done, and then I was like, this is not healthy. And then I was like, okay, you know what, we'll do this. And I've got a good schedule for it now. It's not unhealthy anymore. But
I think this series is going to, I'm going away after I've done this, but I've got less than a month to film 15 hour-and-a-half episodes and to edit 15 hour-and-a-half episodes, which is why they're kind of like, they're less heavily edited. They're quite, as people listening will know, I tried to keep most of the conversation in. I just kind of add title cards to let it flow. So it's not the hardest to edit, but it's a lot to do. So I do hope people listening are enjoying this. Like, I am enjoying it, but I hope that you guys are also enjoying it, because this is made for people to listen to as well. Like, obviously, I will listen back to all of these because they are really fun to do. But yeah.
I feel that, because when I was doing Creator Origins, some of my episodes go on for like 3 hours, and it would be like I have to edit those manually, because I didn't have Fujitech to work, so I would ask for their profile picture and I would sit there manually. And I remember that the one episode that did well was the OVDR episode. The management wanted team. First off, all of them, bless them, great people. But OVDR was great. I got him on, and we did the episode. And I remember this is how I met Billy as well. This is how I met Billy. So he told me, hey, I'm going on another guy's interview series tomorrow. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Who is it? He goes, the guy's name's Billy-ish. So I was like, okay. So I literally said, I'm like, I need to get this episode out before he records his, so we don't have duplicate questions. So I spent 7 hours after, like, as soon as I got off the interview, I was sat in the editing software for 7 hours, grinded through that video, and pushed it out the same night. And then Billy reached out to me after my episode did well. And then, what do you know? We're friends now. Poggers.
We do love Billy. We do. I met Billy
not as much as he loves Funtime Freddy, but we do love him.
Oh yeah, obviously. I met Billy in a game of Repo, and we were like, oh, British person, and he went, oh, British person, and ever since I feel like we're really good friends. I get along really, really well with Billy. Yeah.
It's fire. I'm trying to slip into that trio occasionally.
Join in. I'm not to like interrupt us, but I do need to bring it back a bit now.
No, of course. We went off topic. I understand. Go ahead.
That's okay. So yes, to talk about a DLC, do you think it's possible that we are going to get like a Okay, I personally think the DLC we're going to get for Secret of the Mimic is going to have the original glitch traps, like spring trap, glitch trap kind of suit, and I think it's going to have Fredbear, and I think we are going to find out how the Mimic was able to imitate William, because he is obviously imitating William in both Help Wanted and in kind of maybe attempting to based on Security Breach if it's how canon it is, but yeah.
I feel like Security Breach is like half canon because you kind of can't can't like rewrite that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I suppose what is canon? It definitely canon is Ruin, easily.
Yes, without doubt. Yeah, and we have one canon ending as well. We know which one is canon for definite.
I get the feeling that honestly, that Fredbear game that I'm thinking of, or that they keep talking of, I genuinely think that would be the perfect place to show where the Mimic, like, copied William. Because imagine it. Okay, hear me out. This is how we please everyone. They go, you know, there's people who are like, I love Secret of the Mimic, but I want something that feels like old FNAF, right? So you give them that. We go back to sitting in an office with the doors, but it's in Fredbear's. And we have a phone guy. It don't have to be Scott, but we have a phone guy. And every night, it's like, hey, you know, this, that, and the other. Or you know, there was a bite, or this, that, and the other. One of the suits in the back went missing. And just explain it over the phone calls. And then at the end of the game, have those phone calls somehow get shipped off to, like, the MCM or something. Or, like...
the question manor. Yeah.
You know, the footage, the camera footage.
Yeah.
Anything could work.
See, the only thing is... Secret... I don't know. We don't actually know what the Mimic is. That's the thing, because he does end up in the Security Breach location by Security Breach and Room. But... since the parachute ending is incredibly likely to be the canon one, it's the only one that makes sense. It's like, where is he? Because obviously he has to repair himself, but like, does he know the way back to the costume manor? Because it looks like we have been driving at least a bit, but I don't know.
I think he escaped. Because in all honesty, why stay in the costume manor? What I think happened is he went back up to the house on the hill. Because keep in mind, he's trying to emulate David still as well, a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think he went into the what becomes the Afton house.
Yeah.
And then when obviously the Aftons come over, he leaves, and they lock him in somewhere in the building at the bottom.
I mean, thing is, I feel like Edwin's house definitely became William's, because when I was playing Secret of the Mimic, I looked at that building and said, oh my god, it's Afton's house. And then later on, obviously, we realised it was Edwin's. Like, it's so identical that William obviously stole the design. So I think you're actually right. I hadn't thought of that he might have gone back to the costume manor.
There was a message on the computers of William saying, like, oh, you know, we won't touch the house that your family built, or something like that.
And then he does.
Well, yeah, then he does what William does best, and but apparently is a master theft as well.
Yeah.
Which...
yeah. I think the only thing with Security Breach lore, because a lot of Help Wanted 2 comes from Security Breach, the only issue I've found is you have to interpret it as to what Scott has told them, not what you see. So, for example, the fact that we see Mimic trying to become Springtrap, to me, that says, right, something here wasn't intentional. They were told something like, you need to show Mimic imitating Afton. Obviously not to that degree, because that ending was no longer canon. But it's like, everything you see, even like, I don't know, the post-it rooms, they probably, Scott probably said, somebody's learning to speak. Like, it feels like you can half tell what they were told to do, but they just obviously weren't the best at it, through no fault of their own.
Yeah. The consensus, with the understanding that Steelwall didn't even know what the story was with Security Breach, I think it makes up a lot of the errors that game had.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, that's no fault of Steelwall's, but what they were given, because obviously we know what it is now, or what it was trying to be. We can kind of put the pieces together of what they were trying to do.
Yeah, like portray.
Yeah, and when we look back at it, I think it does a good job at doing what it was told, but there was also places where it was very obviously, you can kind of tell. For example, Burn Trap, that guy is definitely not what Scott intended, nor because he said it himself. He was like, I was gonna have him as like a Slender Man almost. Where
he was just gonna be in the walls.
Yeah. And then they took that and turned him into Grampy Afton came back again.
And that's the tricky thing, because again, you can kind of see that they were told, right, you need to have this mimic thing, he needs to be sneaky, only show... I think they probably said as well, show him at the end, but because it's kind of hard to tell, they probably said as well, can you make it Springtrappy? It just kind of didn't overlap well.
Yeah, they turned him into that. Because I remember the theories of nobody thought Princess Quest was going to be the canon ending when Security Breach Ruin was coming out. Everyone thought Afton's ending was.
Yeah.
So I remember there was people like maybe the Mimic climbed into the Scrap Trap corpse, or maybe the Mimic did this or that. No. Which I kind of prefer. We don't need Afton coming back again. No. The only thing I would like Afton to come back in now is if it's game set before like that, FNAF 6. Name drop, voice drop, hell, maybe even play as him in one game would be cool. But other than that, they kind of keep it out.
I think we are going to see him in the Secret of the Mimic DLC. It really, really feels like the Secret of the Mimic DLC is the big one we're looking for. It's going to have like William, Henry. It's going to be the big, because as we talked about, we've had when we were talking about Help Wanted last time, we were talking about how we are missing just basically a few key bits of information before we can go into the Security Breach 2, which will be the finale. So I think we're going to get some answers a bit there. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just excited.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, are you feeling optimistic for future games at this point? Knowing
Absolutely.
Security Breach happened, but now we have recovered.
That is something that I am mentioning in my review for the Secret of the Mimic, actually, is that the game is not perfect by any means. Secret of the Mimic is not, like, 100 out of 100, 10 out of 10. But it is about the closest we've got in the past 6 years to a very, very good game. Oh, incredibly done in comparison to what we've had.
Yeah.
Because it kind of and that's another thing that I mentioned, or I'm mentioning. It kind of feels like they didn't hold back the horror this time a bit more, which I appreciate. Because again, there was some bits that, obviously, it's a FNAF game. You can't be having it rip people to pieces. You know what I mean? I'm talking Doom levels of it, but like,
we did see bodies, to be fair.
What it was. Because the thing is, I feel like if we ever get a game set after Security Breach, it's kind of screwed. because you've gone so far with the evolution of these robots that people would rather see the ones in the past than the future. So you're forever kind of stuck telling or adding on to a story that's, I'm not going to say complete, because it's definitely not, after Security Breach Ruins ending. But if there's a way they can make them scary while also making them futuristic, then go for it. But the problem is that they've evolved these robots so far where it's like, are we going to go back to that at some point? Probably not. And again, maybe that's not a bad thing. Honestly, I'm just excited to see what they do with the games from now on. Yeah. Because
I'm just sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, you go. I interrupted you.
The FNAF movie is a breath of fresh air. Secret of the Moment is a breath of fresh air. Everything's been good so far. After the FNAF movie, everything's been good. I'm hoping 5 Laps at Freddy's gets that online mode. I know Click Team said it wouldn't, but that is like the only reason to play the game at the moment for me.
Yeah.
Or somebody out there, please mod an online mode into it when it releases, I beg of you. But other than that, you know, everything else with FNAF has been looking good. The books have been the books. The games have been good. The movies are looking fantastic, and the racing game looks like a racing game. You know, yeah, you got what you paid for. But you know, to be honest, I'm excited. I see a positive future for this franchise.
I think like that's the thing. After Security Breach, so many people were hating on the game and on Stillwell as a studio for no fault of their own. So it feels nice to see it redeeming. Like, you still have the like bear in mind, I've liked the game since I was like little and since the first game.
Oh, yeah.
I love the new era. So the people saying like, oh, I'm an IG, this isn't FNAF anymore, especially because of that Security Breach things, I think are being petty at this point. We have in another video we have had a big talk about nostalgia and stuff, but I really think people just need to like not focus as much on the past and embrace the new era, because the new games and the new stuff are fun, they're enjoyable. Like the books, I feel like I personally do feel can be slight of a cash grab sometimes, but all the games and everything else and the movies have been so amazing so far, and I think people need to stop being so critical and just appreciate what we have. Like, feel free to comment on it and like be critical of it, but to say I don't want that, this sucks, where even is Freddy and stuff, like it just feels disrespectful. Yeah.
No, I agree, because another complaint I hear is, oh, it's not actually 5 nights. Does it matter? Does it matter? Like, I suppose I start clapping back with the responses, but it's like, you know, you don't need 5 nights to tell a compelling story. Yes, the game was built on 5 nights. Yes, don't get me wrong, it would be nice to see a game like that again. But the problem is, with FNAF 1 to 4, you were very limited. It was you don't have much replayability, other than you know, the AI is randomized. It is the same gameplay. With games like Secret of the Mimic, at least you've got 14 hours of gameplay there, right? With FNAF 4, if you're not a theorist and you're just like a base person going through the game, you can get the entire game cracked off. If you were 100%ing it and trying to grind Nightmare Mode, if you learn how to do it all, probably 6 hours. 6 hours in comparison to 14, which, you know, and obviously Security Breach was more than that because of just how big that game was. But what I hope is if Stillwell does another massive game like Security Breach, they don't rush it. Listen, delay the game. I don't care if it takes 6 years to come out. Don't release it in the mess that it was. Security Breach was launched in. People were clipping through walls. It was something. It was
not good.
Yeah, like, if it doesn't matter how long it takes, because again, there will always be the little cute spin-offs like the racing game or FNAF 2 or whatever is coming out. Or hell, make another VR game to put the filler in FNAF Hellbound 3. But don't rush the game out. That's a really... It
doesn't help.
Yeah, no, it makes it worse. That's probably what... Because the thing is, I still think people judge Security Breach based on how buggy it was when it released.
Yeah.
It's kind of kept that reputation now. And I don't think that's changing anytime soon. And, you know, that's no fault of its own. The game was rushed out. I've heard horror stories where it's like, oh, they changed the game halfway through developing. I don't believe that entirely.
No.
But it's like, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Even if they did, just delay the game. Just delay it.
What a lot of people seem to forget as well is, one, FNAF 1 wasn't 5 nights, it was 6. It's never actually been 5 Nights at Freddy's, because I don't think there's been a single game that is only 5 nights. And also, I think people need to remember, I made a Reddit post about this a while ago. Point and click games aren't going to be fun forever. If every FNAF game we've had since had been a simple point and click game, even like FNAF 4 and FNAF 6, like FNAF 6 Office one was trying to shake it up a bit, but even that was getting dull. At the end of the day, we can't follow that structure forever, and it was going to get stale. Like, it never was going to last. So I know it feels like difficult, especially when a lot of people are comparing it to probably playtime and stuff, which I think is completely unfair. Like, yeah, it's just it's a whole new era, and I think people need to understand that, and things can't stay the same forever. If it didn't change, everyone would be complaining FNAF has gone stale, FNAF is bad. Now, like, just take the food and eat it.
Because the thing is, I feel like maybe to please both fans, Click Team did all the ports, and they're still doing the ports for the Fanverse games, at least the ones that are coming out. Once they've finished doing ports, I feel like we should have it a balance. For the people who are whinging about FNAF not being the same, give them their point and click games, and let's see how long they'll buy them for. Because I guarantee you, after the third one, it'll stop. Like, don't get me wrong, it'd be a nice return to formula, but it's just, it'll get stale far too quick.
People forget, like, the argument I've seen is people saying, oh, the fan games are all fun. But the fan games all have completely unique concepts. You guys threw a fit when Roxy appeared instead of Foxy. You can't handle having a completely new roster. Like, sure, the fan games are fun, but majority of them wouldn't work as a concept in the FNAF universe without changing what we know. Like, the lore in every fan game never sticks to the canon. Like, even the first time I ever voice acted was a fan game, and even that lore was different. And the reason they're so fun is because it's a new lore. You can find out the lore, but you can't have that in a pre-existing games. Like, I think people need to remember that, like, there's a standard to these games, and it wouldn't have lasted forever.
Yeah. There is only so many times you can sit in an office and press buttons on doors.
Shut the door, close the door, put on the mask, close the door.
I mean, what I think would be interesting is, obviously, again, like I said, if the people want point and click, give them point and click for however long they want. But do shake it up a bit. Like you mentioned, fan games, of course. Story-wise, I agree with you. They can't change that. But mechanics-wise, I've seen like fan games, where they're like right in front of you, you flip the light, or running under the bed and stuff, like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential for it. It's just, there's not enough demand at the minute, which I'm not saying people should start rioting to put FNAF back in point and click, because I think that would be a really bad idea. I do like the 3D games, but it doesn't... I'm kind of split on it, really, because it's like, I would like to see a Fredbear's game. Would I want it to be point and click? Yes. Would I understand if people were mad at that? Yes, because people want to have a look around at Fredbear's and stuff, but it's kind of like, again, you see yourself, some games it only gets good after so far. I feel like people will be like, oh, it's a great game, and then after like a year, people will be like, this is the worst game in the series because it did this. There's not enough appeal.
Like, I will say, just to close off this segment, if you guys want more point and click games, stop just commenting on everyone else's like content creators videos and saying this game is bad, this game is bad. You need to advocate for the games you want. If you genuinely want those point and click games and you genuinely want games that continue the lore, then you need to like request it. Point and click games, fun. If you want another one, sure, but you have to be advocating it rather than just spreading hate on the other games, because that gives such a bad image as well. Yeah.
Click Team is who you need to be speaking to. Go on Twitter. I'm not saying harass them, but I'm saying maybe a hashtag. Set up a hashtag FNAF point and click or something like that, and then get Click Team's attention. Because if you show interest, they'll probably do it, most likely.
Yeah.
Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe they won't, but can't hurt trying.
I think they probably will. But yeah, I think the message of this segment: don't be an asshole about it.
Exactly.
Be proactive, and you'll probably get what you want. Okay. Gush about the game. What are your favourite parts? And also maybe what is some of your gripes with Help Wanted 2?
My gripes. Please, it's been 3 years. Add Vive controller support. I don't want to have to keep downloading Steam custom keybinds. Okay, that gripe's over.
Nice.
Actual gripes with the game. Are we talking Can we talk about any gripes?
So anything with gameplay, anything you felt maybe has not been done the best, just
performance.
Generally,
performance on some headsets. I have a Vive, I have a Vive Pro, which is one of the stronger headsets, and I was having frame drops. Now again, the game wasn't built for the Vive Pro, whatever, but I had people on the Vive Pro that had Valve Knuckles, and the game was still dropping. It's not about the headset, because the Vive Pro and Steam, what's it called, Steam Index or something like that, they're built very similar. It should not be having performance drops. I'd fix that. I don't know whether that's been fixed. Again, I've not played in a while. Gameplay wise, I thought it was quite fun. For what it was, the game was fun. It was an enjoyable experience. It was a fun game, but I feel like there could have been more. And that's maybe just me speaking because obviously of how much we had in Help Wanted 1. But there could have been more to the game. Don't get me wrong, I loved the whole, the indicator that was on the wall that was like, don't forget to take off your mask, and then you reach for your face, and it's crazy. But because that was cool to experience in VR, and it also took me 5 minutes to figure out what I was supposed to be doing because I was not looking at the wall. But that whole experience was cool. I feel
cool.
like the story was semi. I understood it, what it was going for. I understood the endings because I played Ruin at that point. The game was good. A easy 6 out of 10. Not as good as Help Wanted 1 in my opinion, but the game was an actual solid VR game as it was built. It was nice to get more sister location stuff. It was nice to get FNAF 6 stuff. And security breach stuff as well.
I think... Yeah. Good. I think...
Go ahead.
For me, I didn't go in with much enthusiasm. And it was similar to AR, though I'm more interested in AR now. Help Wanted 2 drops out of the blue. And I remember I had a mini crisis because I found I wasn't as invested. I watched Mark play it, whereas with games like Secret of the Mimic, I watch everyone play it. It has come back.
Yeah.
Back then, I was questioning if I just wasn't into FNAF anymore because I was really not finding the energy. But I think, going back, there were some really cool moments. I really, really loved when you took off that mask. That was such a cool moment. The helpy sections are so funny. It felt like Scott's humour had come back into the game. It definitely felt out of all of them. One of the games, both that and Secret of the Mimic, have Scott's tone back into it. You can tell he's really stepped back in for these ones. But it just, I don't think there was enough build up to it. It was so sudden. I couldn't get myself excited in time. So when it came, I watched Markiplier play it, but I was like, I'm not as invested. Normally I go to Dorco, and I think I might have gone to Dorco. Normally when a game comes out, before I started playing them myself, I would go to Dorco and I would watch him play it the second it came out, and then I watched Markiplier's, but I wasn't into it, which is really sad. But it's really good. I love it, but there was just something I personally couldn't get into it, and I don't think it's any fault of the game itself. I love the lore of it. I love the lore. I love some of the mini games, but it didn't hit the same, and which was odd considering Secret of the Mimic really did. So yeah.
The problem with Help Wanted is there were no promotion.
Yeah.
And I remember this because I actually remember where I was. We'd been given the teaser trailer for, I think it was Secret of the Mimic on the same stream. And I was sat with who is now my editor, He was my best friend at the time, still is. We were sat watching the PlayStation State of Play just for the fun.
Yeah.
And we saw the Sister Location. My first thing was Sister Location remaster. That's cool. And then it said VR headset required. I'm like, Sister Location VR. That's even cooler. And then it said Help Wanted 2. And I actually don't think we ever got another thing for it again. I actually think, yeah, we didn't. It was just that. And that kind of like, the only reason I knew the game was coming out was because I was a super fan. I'm like, oh, another VR game. Maybe it'll be good. And the Sister Location thing kind of appealed me, especially seeing those characters in VR. It was going to be cool. I thought it was going to be like the Sister Location bunker as the lobby.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed that it wasn't, because I love FNAF 6, but it's still, you know, they promoted it as Sister Location, and it was a lot more FNAF 6 than Sister Location at some moments.
The only thing is, it wouldn't have made sense lore-wise to have it be the lobby, purely because obviously it looks like Cassie's dad died down in that basement, and that's why he's in the FNAF 6 location. But it's just, I remember I was watching Dorko's stream, and I was so excited for Secret Mimic, and this came at the time. I was like, oh, okay, this looks cool. And then there was just no promo for it, so when I was watching it, I was like, well, it's hard. Whereas Secret Mimic, there was so much build-up, and I was going to play it myself, so I was beyond excited. And it really paid off, but it just felt like, no, yeah, Help Wanted 2, I think Stillwell fixed it, but be wary of your promo, Stillwell. Be wary of your promo, because that definitely hit quite a few people. Yeah. It was fun that it dropped so sudden, but...
Yeah. I think another problem with Stillwell is they kind of... They don't... Yeah, they didn't promote anything. Because they did this with Help Wanted 2, and they did it with Secret and the Mimic. And I actually think I'm going to die on this hill, and I know there'll be some people who disagree with me and some people who agree. The only reason Secret and the Mimic made as much money as it was, and that was, and I'm talking, like, hour one sales, before people were like, this game is great, and then everybody started buying it. The only reason Secret and the Mimic made as many sales as it did was because of that stupid song. The one made by Extra Tuner. That song... did more marketing for the game than Steelwall did. I swear on that. I will die on that hill. And
they did fumble the marketing.
Absolutely. If I ever get the opportunity to speak to Extra Tuner properly, then I want to say you saved modern FNAF, because I swear to God, your video is the only goddamn reason that game did as well as it did. There isn't that is the only reason.
I think the marketing was decent this time round, but the only thing is they dropped all the jump scares the day before, and that was really steady. Like, I know people are mad, but I do like that they give the first half an hour to creators, and if people don't like that, they find it unfair. But I think it's a good from a marketing perspective, because they're showing the first half hour, but only half hour, so it doesn't spoil the game and kind of getting an idea of the game.
The thing that I think they should do, alright, give the creators an early copy, right?
Yeah.
And instead of having it posted a day before, keep in mind it's a 30-minute segment. Because the problem is posting it a day before is a lot of the stuff got spoiled. And, you know, on top of that, there was also certain YouTubers who decided to put spoilers in the thumbnail. That's so fun. Give them... I don't care if they get an early copy. That's for... You know what? They've been in the community that long. Fair enough.
They deserve it,
copy. But... have them post their videos an hour before the game drops, because at that point there's not going to be any new promotional material, because there were some people on YouTube who were expecting, you know, maybe we'll get a last minute trailer, maybe we'll get a one day before drop, and then they got spoiled, and it's like, let them have an early copy, let them, I don't care if they record their entire playthrough, just don't let them post it until at least an hour to 30 minutes before the game comes out.
I think, the only thing is, I completely understand why creators, including the one you've mentioned, have to clickbait. I get it, but it's just a rough situation all round, because I know the YouTube algorithm is harsh. It means that you really have to advertise yourself at this point. I know a lot of YouTubers are struggling at the moment once they've been around. I mean, I know, like, for example, Dorko has spoken up how he's really struggling because the algorithm's being rushed. I understand why, but it's just sad. I'm really mad at the YouTube algorithm at this point, because it's really doing people dirty. But yeah, I feel like we should end this on a good note, though. I do want to say, Stillwell, you have done really well with your games. I think you did amazingly. I think your marketing's getting better. I think you're definitely improving. And I think you listening to the fans, it's really good. And also to the creators, we still watch you, including you, Dorco. I mean, these are literally dedicated to your charity. So, you guys are doing good. Overall, we've talked a lot of negative stuff, but I am proud. Everyone has improved. Creators are going strong. We love you for your content, even after all these years. Yes. Do you have a positive note, Loaf?
Positive note?
Yeah.
I want to thank the community. I did not think that I would get anywhere near the level of traction that my video did get. I want to thank the community for that. Obviously, FNAF World's a big topic, but even my new video, I get it. I agree. I'm gonna hold my hand up and say this: the new video was a bit rushed. I promise you, the next one won't be, because I was worried that people wouldn't want to watch. But 40,000 views in a video that was rushed is still fantastic. I got to thank people for that. Genuinely, this community is there's moments where it's like keeping some creators in the scene. I'm not going to get onto a bad note, but there's some people who deserve to go. But honestly, the community does a great job at, being a safe and happy place most of the time. Everybody's always kind, caring. Most people are always looking out for each other, and that's nice, especially in the creator spaces, like the ones we're in.
Absolutely.
Everybody's just so nice. It's just nice to see everybody interacting with each other, and let's keep that up. And if you have a channel out there, someone watching this, if you've got a channel and you're worried about making content, don't be. Go out there, go make content, go do it, and one day, even if it takes ages, your video will do well, and you'll get where you want to be. It'll happen.
It's a really nice note. I feel like a year ago, I was only getting like 1 or 2 views on my videos. I didn't know how to do thumbnails. I didn't know where to do it. And now I'm, making a video series for the anniversary with 15 creators. Some of them like being some of the biggest names in the theorist community is just, and even like making all their friends. I mean, I've even this year raised $120 for charity from One More Night at Cancer and also for Vortex 25. Like I felt really loved and appreciated by this community. I've made such good friends, including you, Loaf, and I've just been able to make such an impact as well with everything I do. And I just, it's a lovely. The FNAF community is unlike any other community, and I'm glad to be here.
Of course. I mean, I was so worried about not being accepted into the the community that I've loved for so long, but so far I've got nothing but good, positive things to say. I mean, over the past few weeks, it's been evident. Like, I've had people reaching out. I'm getting a bit overloaded with how much stuff I need to do, which I'm setting a schedule up so I can
me too.
Not get overwhelmed. But it is cool that people want to do work with me. And if you're watching this and you're somebody who knows me, or you're somebody who I've just met, or like whatever, whenever you watch this video down the road, hit me up. I'm always down to do stuff for other people's channels. That's always fun. But honestly, the community just, I don't think you could be more lucky than the one we're in.
I completely agree. I mean, like, the same goes for me as well. Always, if people want to do things with me, even if you don't know me and you're not a creep and you'd like to collaborate with me, even if I do make it big, I will always do my best to contribute to the community. I mean, even now, I'm very small compared to everyone else here. I've got 360 subscribers. I'm a very small account.
There'll be that one video.
But I feel like everyone here has been so lovely, and I will always want to give back. Even if one day I get I don't know, if I make my dream and I'm 100,000 subscribers, I will still always do my best to contribute because everyone here elevates each other. And so if you're watching this, you want me, just ask. We chill like that.
my goal has always been 100k. I had that set before I did any videos. It's like, if I want to go after 100k, everything's a bonus. I'm not going to quit after 100k because I actually enjoy doing my content, but after that, everything's a bonus. My goal is 100k, and I'm a happy man.
And that's it today for the Fazlore Podcast. Special thanks to our lovely guest, ExplodingLoaf.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for joining me. So where can we find you?
YouTube, Exploding Loaf, no spaces, because that will show you a video of an actual bread exploding. I've checked.
I've done that before.
And Twitter with the same name. But basically any platform I have a social on. Except for Instagram, which now after I've said this, I'm going to go make one so someone doesn't pretend to be me. Okay. Go find me on any platform. I'm on there with the Exploding Loaf as the handle. Yeah.
Brilliant. So that'll be it. That'll be it for today. Yes, that's the one.
Cool.
Signing off and see you later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Hi there, PNG Win here. A reminder, all profits from this series goes towards Dorco's London Marathon 2026 fundraiser, in which he is raising funds for Samaritans, a charity for people who are struggling with their mental health, offering support lines and services so nobody is ever alone. It's a wonderful cause, so please consider donating with the link in my bio or scanning this QR code. Thank you.